going to be dealing with your health and disability insurance premiums. Very important chapter as you get a little bit older. Most of you probably right now are still on your parents' health insurance. But once you turn 26, you have to come off of your parents' insurance policy and get your own health insurance. I would suggest staying on your parents just as long as you possibly can. Now, before we get into discussing some of the things you need to look at in the news this week, if you watched any of the news, you'll know that President Trump took away some of the benefits under Obamacare, which would mean a big deal to those buying their own insurance premiums. Hopefully what you want to look for is when you go to an interview for companies when you graduate, ask them about their health insurance policies, what they have, do they cover any of your premiums and you pay for dependents. What options do you have? Most of the time, if you can buy health insurance through your employer, you're going to get it at a much better rate. So that's what you want to look for first when you're looking at health insurance. So the objectives of Chapter 9 are that you know that you recognize the importance of having health insurance on your financial planning. Um, as most of you probably don't have to pay to go to a doctor or anything like that, but if you don't have health insurance and you go to the doctor, it can take a big chunk out of your financial planning, and especially if you have a catastrophe, if you have some kind of long-term disease, and you have no health insurance, this can financially bankrupt you. So it is very important that you do plan for some way to have health insurance for you and your family. Objective 2 is to analyze the cost benefits of various types of health insurance and also the major provisions in health insurance policies. As you get into the chapter, you're going to be presented several different options of what you can do to purchase health insurance. Again, the best thing you can do is to, when you're looking for a job, is to ask about health insurance coverage, because that's going to be your best option. Look at what's available when you're looking at health insurance benefits. I do know that under some of the dismantling that President Trump did this week, he removed birth control options that small businesses do not have to pay for birth control options for female employees. That is a big deal for someone your age if you're not ready to start a family. So again, you would want to look at that, how much it would cost you to have birth control taken care of on a monthly basis. Objective 3 is to assess the trade-off of the different types of health insurance plans. You're going to go into depth about HMOs, PPOs, POS, Medicare, Medigap, different things like that. Every one of them have their good points and they also have their bad points. One thing you want to look at, again, is look at what you need. Look at if you go from a POS, which is point of service, versus a HMO, which is a health maintenance organization. Under PPO or POS, you could choose local doctors. Under HMOs, you would have to, for instance, in my situation, I would have to drive down to Kennesaw to go to the doctor if I was under an HMO plan. So for me, the convenience of having a doctor locally versus having to drive down to Kennesaw or Marietta to go to the doctor makes a big difference for me, and I'm willing to pay a little extra to have that benefit. So you want to look at that. The fourth objective that you're going to look at is to evaluate the differences among health plans offered by the private companies and the government. And those were just some of the same things I was just talking about. Look at the policies closely. If you're not sure, sit down, talk to your parents, talk to someone at your work that's in the human resources and ask their advice on what would be best for you. But again, don't jump into this unless you have to come off of your parents' policy, because they can keep you on until you reach your 26th birthday. And normally, if they're paying for a family plan, whether it's your mom, your dad, you, and a brother, it doesn't matter if there's two on the policy or if there's 10 on the policy, it is one premium. So you want to think about that. Objective 5 for this chapter is the importance of disability income, insurance, and financial planning. This is something that if you can afford it, then you do want to get either short-term or long-term disability, so that if you are out of work, then you would receive a percentage of your salary. Basically, it's 70 to 80% depending on your company's policy that they have. I know when my husband and I first got married and we were buying our own insurance, financially we could not purchase long-term disability insurance, and we were fortunate that we never had to have it. But we have had friends that didn't purchase it. They were out of work for 2 or 3 months for some medical reason, and financially it about bankrupt them. So again, that is something that you would need to discuss with your spouses, with your family, to see if you could afford the $3 or $4 a week that costs. And then number 6, the objective 6, is that you're going to be able to explain why insurance is going up and up and up. The best thing I can say is because the baby boomers are getting older, and we require more medical, more drugs, more dental, more vision. And even though you don't like it, you're helping us pay for our health care. That is one reason it's going up. The drugs are just out of sight as far as that much as they cost, and hopefully Congress will be able to put some limits on how much they can raise the cost of drugs. I know a friend of mine has to take high blood pressure pills, and it's like $80 every week she has to buy for her prescription. And thank goodness she does have prescription coverage, and it covers most of it. But if she had to pay for it out of pocket, that would be a big expense. So even though you right now you're thinking, I don't need to worry about this chapter, this is something that you need to look for down the line. 5, 6 years, this is something you're going to be faced with, and the more knowledge you have about it, the better decisions you can make. So have a great week. Remember that this is beginning of week 9. Believe it or not, we're on the downslide. So you have a case study on page 316. You're going to answer questions 3 and 4. You do have a discussion board this week. It's question number 4. And you must submit your response by Thursday, and respond to 2 of your classmates by Sunday night. You also have your Learn Smart for chapter 9, and you also have quizzes. Have a great week. Thank you.